So here's the situation. A solo developer building a client project management tool for her bookkeeping business runs Claude Code for 5 days straight. She's automating invoices, connecting to QuickBooks, writing tests. Friday morning, she checks her Anthropic dashboard. $387. That's not a month. That's 1 work week, and she didn't even finish the feature. That's the conversation I want to have today, because Claude Code versus OpenCode is not really a features debate. It's a cost structure debate. And if you're a small business builder, those are completely different things. Let's be precise about what we're comparing. Claude Code is Anthropic's official terminal-based AI coding agent. You run it from your command line, it reads your code base, writes code, runs commands, loops through errors. It's impressive. But it calls the Claude API directly, which means every token costs you real money at pay-as-you-go rates. OpenCode is an open-source project, also terminal-based, built to do roughly the same agentic coding workflow, but it lets you plug in your own model. You can point it at Claude, at GPT-4o, or at a local model running on your own machine through something like Ollama, which is free. That's the core difference. Claude Code is locked to one expensive model. OpenCode is model agnostic. Here's the math that most comparison videos skip. Claude Sonnet 4, which Claude Code defaults to, runs at $3 per million input tokens and $59 per million output tokens as of mid-2025. An agentic coding session where the tool reads your whole repo, writes code, checks errors, and iterates. That can burn 200,000 to 500,000 tokens in a couple hours, especially if you've got a code base over 10,000 lines. Do that 5 days a week, and you're looking at $150 to $400 a month just in API spend, before you've paid for anything else. Now, with OpenCode pointed at a local Llama 3 model through Ollama, your token cost is literally zero. You're just using your own CPU or GPU. The trade-off is that local models are noticeably weaker on complex multi-file refactoring. For a simple CRUD app or a WordPress automation script, fine. For debugging a React app with a custom Stripe integration, Claude is still better at the hard stuff. Let me give you 2 actual profiles. Profile 1, a marketing agency owner who codes on the side and is building a client reporting tool. She touches code maybe 10 hours a week. The tasks are fairly contained, and she already pays for a Claude Pro subscription at $20 a month. For her, Claude Code with Claude Pro's included usage makes sense. She stays under the usage limits most months, and the quality difference on complex tasks saves her debugging time worth more than the occasional overage. Profile 2, a bootstrapped SaaS founder who's shipping daily, has a 30,000-line code base, and is cost-sensitive because he's pre-revenue. You should be using OpenCode with a hybrid setup. Local model for the grunt work. API calls to Claude only for the genuinely hard problems. That's not a perfect workflow, but it's the one that doesn't eat $300 before he's made $1. All right, let's be direct about where each one falls apart. Claude Code's biggest problem isn't the price. It's the unpredictability of the price. There's no hard spending cap on the API right now that stops a runaway agentic session. People have woken up to $80 charges overnight because they left a loop running. Anthropic does let you set soft limits, but they're not instant cutoffs. On the flip side, Claude Code's context handling and instruction following on multi-step tasks is genuinely better than anything you get from a local 8 billion parameter model. OpenCode's problem is setup friction. It's a great project, but it is not plug and play. You're configuring model endpoints, dealing with context window limits on local models, and debugging the tool itself sometimes, not just your actual code. For a non-technical business owner, that setup cost and time is real. And if you route OpenCode through the Claude or OpenAI API anyway, you don't actually save money, you just lose the polish of the official product. The setup I'd actually recommend for most small business builders right now is this. Use OpenCode with GPT-4o Mini or Claude Haiku for routine tasks. Boilerplate, simple scripts, documentation, test generation. Those models are 5 to 10 times cheaper per token than Sonnet. Then keep a Claude Pro or API subscription specifically for the sessions where you're stuck on something genuinely complex and you need the best reasoning you can get. Think of it like not using your accountant to stuff envelopes. Match the model to the task. One concrete example, a small e-commerce operator I talked to cut his AI coding spend from $280 a month to $60 by routing 70% of his OpenCode sessions through Haiku and only escalating to Sonnet for the hard architecture questions. Same output quality for the simple stuff. Real savings overall. So here's how to actually decide. If you're coding fewer than 15 hours a week and your tasks are self-contained, just get Claude Pro at $20 a month and use Claude Code. The math works. If you're coding heavily, have a large code base, or you're pre-revenue and every dollar matters, set up OpenCode, use a local or cheap API model for most tasks, and escalate selectively. If you're non-technical and just trying to get a simple automation or landing page built, honestly, neither of these is the right starting point. Use a visual builder or hire someone for that first project. The mistake I see small business owners make is defaulting to the most powerful and most expensive tool because it feels safer. It's not safer. A $400 week with nothing shipped is worse than a $40 week with a working feature in production. If you're making real decisions about AI tools for your business, not just watching videos about them, the IAdigest newsletter is where I put the stuff that doesn't fit in a YouTube script. Pricing changes, tool updates, actual workflows from real small business owners. It's free, it's at IAdigest.com, and it's worth 5 minutes of your week. Subscribe there, and I'll see you in the next one.